Hey everyone, today we're hitting the road for an epic adventure to the Tanger Outlets in West Phoenix. Fun fact, I had no clue how to pronounce this. Is it Tanger? Is it Tanger? But after some digging, it turns out it's Tanger, at least on the 4 out of 5 sites that I checked. We're kicking things off at the Burton Bar Central Library downtown, then cruising about 13 miles to the Glendale Entertainment District, home of the Phoenix Cardinals Stadium. It's a 32-mile round trip, city streets there and highways back. As always, I want to hear from you. If there's a spot in Phoenix you want us to check out, drop it in the comments below. Let's go. Hey there. Greetings from Phoenix, Arizona and the Valley of the Sun. Even though I'm an old guy in a Tesla, I'm a big fan of full self-driving and innovation in general. My mission is to excite you about this technology and show you what you can expect. I have extensive experience in software development and data analysis, as this is what I do in the real world. I will be using a 2024 Tesla Model Y with full self-driving 12.5.1.3. With each new release, we'll go on several road trips using an unedited recording of the drive. I'll rate the quality of that drive, so we'll have a running data-driven comparison for each road trip and version of full self-driving. I am not promising anything, but I will do my best not to disengage, even if it's making me crazy by driving too slow or making unnecessary lane changes. The whole point of this is to experience hands-free driving as if the car was fully autonomous. All right, buckle up and let's go on today's drive. It will be nice when full self-driving is able to back out of a parking space like this. So we'll give it our usual annoying ding here, since it's expected to be part of a new version that should be released in 2024, according to Tesla's published roadmap. This version of the software was first released to Hardware 4 vehicles at the beginning of August 2024. But by the time you see this, I know versions that work with Hardware 3 vehicles have been released, and the results are very similar. We are only going about a block after turning out of the parking lot. Last time I tried this with this version, the system, under very similar circumstances, went over the speed limit. I'm glad to see it's at least holding the speed limit, even though that's not necessary, given the red light is right up ahead there. And thus it still uses too much friction braking when going a block to a red light. And there is that confidence-crushing steering wheel jiggle. They have to get that smoothed out. Otherwise, it's a relatively clean turn from Wyletta onto Central Avenue. It was wide, but that was because it needed to be in the far left lane in order to make the turn onto East McDowell Road. The turn here is good. It's settled into the left lane for some reason, but it's as good as any. That oncoming red pickup startled me. I forgot it's a double turning lane on that side. It's one of those things that can happen when you're not in total control of the vehicle, but the system handled it well. Traveling along McDowell, I like how it anticipates the gray SUV turning in front of us. It slows down, crossing the intersection, and then waits to see what the SUV is going to do, which was to move into our lane. Otherwise, it travels well along McDowell on our way to the intersection at Grand Avenue. Here, the system merges into the right-hand lanes well before our turn. Nice job. This light at Grand Avenue is interesting in that it's the first time it seems to be paying attention to the no turn on red sign. There are plenty of other examples where the system will run a red light, even when there's a sign. Or, it could be because it's a complicated intersection. It's called 6 points because there's 3 different streets converging here. One is McDowell Road, which we're on. 2 is 19th Avenue, which is to our immediate right. And 3 is Grand Avenue, which is slightly off to our right. I'll let you be the judge on why it didn't turn on red. Is it because the sign is clearly marked overhead, although you can't see it because it's being blocked by the rearview mirror? Or because it can't process this many inputs to determine if it's safe to proceed? Grand Avenue was one of the reasons I wanted to go this way today. It's an interesting road. While just about every road in Phoenix is laid out in a grid, north, south, east, west, this road cuts diagonally and leads right to the heart of the city. There's a lot of history along this road, which I'll talk about in a minute. By the way, 5 Points, to our south, is essentially where Grand Avenue ends. It does not go past Van Buren. As you'll notice, this is a ridiculously long light. I clocked it at 8 seconds shy of 2 minutes. One reason why most people avoid Grand Avenue if they can. We will be on Grand Avenue for about 7 agonizing miles, so let me tell you a little bit about it. Amazingly, I couldn't find a single Wikipedia article on this, so I pieced a bunch of this together. Phoenix was established in 1872, but the roots of Grand Avenue trace back even further, predating the arrival of the railroads. This road was originally a wagon trail connecting Phoenix to Wickenburg and the nearby mines. This facilitated trade and travel in the region. For many years, the city limits of Phoenix extended only to 19th Avenue McDowell, which is where we just turned, marking the edge of the urban development. Grand Avenue served as the main thoroughfare for travelers coming from Los Angeles. By 1932, as automobile travel surged in popularity, Grand Avenue was designated as part of Route 60. This designation transformed the avenue into a vital artery for long-distance travelers. In the wake of the Great Depression, many who had previously struggled to turn their extra plots of land into private facilities catered to the increasing number of tourists and travelers. By around 1940, these accommodations reached their peak, with a growing number of businesses emerging to service these vehicles, providing gasoline and meeting the needs of the road-weary. The post-war era of the 1950s brought a new generation of entrepreneurs and a booming demand for roadside amenities. Restaurants, motels, and shops began to flourish along Grand Avenue, creating a vibrant commercial corridor that thrived on the traffic from both locals and long-distance travelers. However, the landscape of transportation was shifting, and for a while, it was downhill from there. As planning for Interstate Highway 10 progressed in the late 50s, Grand Avenue transitioned almost entirely into a commercial hub. With the completion of the I-10, travelers no longer needed to navigate surface streets like Van Buren and Grand to get through Phoenix. Instead, they could bypass the inner city altogether. Commuters from the West Valley began using the freeway, favoring routes like 7th Avenue to reach downtown, which significantly altered the dynamics of local traffic and business. In the decades since, while many businesses along Grand Avenue have adapted or closed, the road continues to reflect the changing needs of Phoenix. There have been efforts to revitalize the area in recent years, which have focused on preserving its historical significance while promoting new development that respects its legacy as a key route in Arizona's transportation history. Grand Avenue remains a testament to the evolution of travel in the region, bridging the past with the future. And that's Grand Avenue in Phoenix. I don't know if you've been watching the speedometer, but I really don't understand why it can't maintain a consistent speed. It's the simplest, most basic function of driving, and almost all cars can do this with ease. For some reason, this system just can't seem to maintain a speed consistently. The speed limit on this road is 45 miles per hour, and my setup is for plus 5 miles per hour relative to the speed limit. For the most part, it's been close. I'm not sure why it isn't exact, but I'll let that go for now. But you can see in some parts, it's wildly different and is entering law-breaking territory. This is a nice smooth turn onto 57th Drive, and we're now in the downtown part of Glendale. It's a cool little part of it that if you ever get the chance, it's a hidden gem in Phoenix. I do notice that at higher speeds, these turns are much smoother than from a standing stop. I wasn't sure what it was going to do here since it waited so long to move over, but I just let it do its thing and it worked out. I would have moved over way sooner to avoid getting stuck at the construction. This is something I'm looking forward to. They keep talking about better lane merging in future versions. And I just love how it very smoothly doglegs around this line of traffic and moves into an empty lane. It was very human-like. I'm not sure what's going on here. For some reason, it went slightly over the line and it looked like it was about to go into the other lane. I'm not sure if it couldn't decide which lane to choose or it just got sloppy. Maybe it was over-processing. Who knows? I don't want to nitpick here, but I thought the car that merged into the lane a little late. Kind of interesting because if you'll notice the car in front of us, it did the exact same thing. The assumption is that sometimes it's taking its cues from the cars in front of it. Even though the routing looks like it ends at 95th Avenue and Hannah Lane, the car continues into the parking lot just like it should. Okay, that's fine. And then it updates the routing, clearly showing a right-hand turn into the parking lot when in fact it makes a left-hand turn. This gets into the transparency and trust principles that all systems need to be built on, and it clearly violates that. Oh, and look, they have these free chargers. So even though I'm not charging, I'm going to take one of these spots. I'm only going to be here for a few minutes anyway. By the way, if you've never tried this auto park feature, it is really nice. It's definitely improved in the last couple of versions. And as slow as it is here, it used to be even slower. Now it's barely tolerable as long as there isn't anybody waiting behind you or walking across your path as you're trying to back into the spot. I've been using it for a couple of months now and never had a problem. And the parking space in our garage has this huge, large cement post right next to our spot, and it is always parked perfectly. Okay, let's head back. In terms of time, this should be much shorter since we're going to be taking highways most of the trip. We'll head out of the parking lot here and toward State Farm Stadium, home of the Phoenix Cardinals. Again, too much friction braking. And part of the problem is accelerating to 40 miles per hour right before this light. So when the light does change, there's very little room to stop. And you can see here that it stops well before the crosswalk and then crawls forward to the line. There is a world of difference when the light is already red. This one was a nice smooth stop. But here, the steering wheel jiggle is actually shaking the whole car. They really need to get this smoothed out. Turning onto Maryland Avenue, the car handles this perfectly. It ramps up speed well, it changes lanes when it should. The only reason I'm breaking in here is to point out something about Phoenix drivers. It's really hard to tell, but if you look closely, you can see the car up ahead at the light is turning left on a red light. So typical here in Phoenix. People can't wait literally 30 seconds. Nice smooth turn onto the 101. This part of the trip should go much faster. Good acceleration and merging onto the 101. The system definitely has more confidence when there's a lead car to follow. By the way, off to our left is a new Via Beach Resort. It's absolutely stunning in terms of its amenities and scale. It's enormous. It's going to have a beach, a Mattel amusement park. Somehow the Mattel toy company is involved, and you can see the roller coaster peeking out from behind the walls. It's going to have a giant amphitheater, some sort of luxury villas. It's highly anticipated, even if nobody here can afford it. I really think the system has gotten worse in these merge situations. Here the car hugs the left part of the lane all the way through the merge. It really should be trying to center itself, or at least moving over to the right. It does seem to get a little confused here on which lane it wants to pick. Both the lane we are in and the left lane can be used to enter the I-10 freeway. However, it starts to move over to the left lane with a turn signal and everything, but then it changes its mind. This is something else it just needs to get better at. The system got trapped here on the right side of the highway and sat in these right-hand lanes for the longest time. So long, in fact, that this sweeper vehicle that's passing us now, it's the same one we saw on the 101 several miles back. Or at least I think it is. It has the same number 115 on the back. We took so much time in those right-hand lanes with all that slow traffic that this slow-moving vehicle was able to catch up with us and pass us. This is a lot of the frustration I feel when the system doesn't drive the way I would. I never would have stayed in those lanes that long. This happened several times on the highway here. I'm not sure what's going on, but it's not seeing that I'm looking forward. Even though I'm here in Phoenix and the sun is really bright, I've been testing the vision system and not wearing my sunglasses. I finally took off my glasses to see if that would help. I can't wait for the next version of this software that has the ability to wear sunglasses. It's a little nerve-wracking here as it took its time getting over into the right-hand lane for this exit on 7th Street. Supposedly there's a version of the software coming that's going to make things like this much smoother. For now, I know what every parent goes through when they have a kid that's learning how to drive. It does a really nice job traveling along these narrow streets. I even like the way it moves over slightly to the right when it comes to this stop sign. Well, it might not be the smartest idea to leave your car door open on a busy street like this, but the car sees it and handles it by moving slightly over to the left and going around it and keeping the car at about 20 miles per hour. I often wonder what it would do in situations, for example, if there was another car coming down the opposite side of the street. Wow, I haven't seen one of those cruise vehicles here in a long time. And I couldn't tell if there was a human driver in there or not. Self-driving Waymos are really commonplace down here and have been for a while. It's one of the original places they started testing and mapping with their vehicles. It's a very natural turn onto Wyletta Street. Unfortunately, it seems to have not paid attention to the change in speed limit. There's a temporary sign out for the school here, and while the system shows 15 miles per hour, the car is still going 25 miles an hour through here. It only slows down when the passage through it becomes so narrow, and even then it doesn't slow down that much. This was a really tight space, and I'm really surprised it didn't slow down more, although I don't really think it knows how close to the edge the sign is. And we're back to Burton Bar Central Library. Here it seems to handle the speed bumps fine. I didn't see it show up on the display, so I don't know if that's because it's just going slow or if it actually saw it. Regardless, it's exactly how fast I would have gone over it. And that's it. Another hands-free road test. this time to Tanger Outlets. This is my 6th video where I didn't have to touch the controls once, and other than doing things that generally I wouldn't do, the system does feel like it's getting better. Based on the scoring, and frankly how long this drive was, I don't think it was too bad. Again, we had 0 disengagements, so it's mostly just annoying and confusing behavior. There were 2 more severe incidences, but that's what supervision is all about. The car can't drive itself. Thanks for road testing with me today. Like, subscribe, and save if you think you got something useful out of this video. And if you did, you're going to want to see some of the other places we went, pushing the limits of this version. And if not, hey, thanks anyways for going this far on this one. As always, feedback is great, so anything constructive would be appreciated. Thank you for watching this old guy in a Tesla. I hope you have a pleasant week, and be sure to have fun while you're driving.